Many arguments could be made about the greatest car in the history of drag racing, but I feel that the most loved car in the history of drag racing is an easy pick. The Winged Express. The AA fuel altered, originally driven by Wild Willie Borsch, still campaigned to this day by a gentleman named Mike Boyd. In August of 1999, I got to see the Wing for the very first time. It was also my very first trip to the Nightfire Nationals in Boise, Idaho, Firebird Raceway, home of the New Crew. And I not only got to see the Wing for the very first time under the lights, that was cool, but I got an interview with the driver, Mike Boyd, big Mike Boyd. And man, all I can say is there is no better person to be driving this car. I did ask him off camera, man, are you ever going to drive this thing with one hand? And he looked at me like he was going to pick me up and break me in half. And he said, no way, man. That was Willie's deal. Pretty cool.
Anybody in LA. I had no phone numbers with me at all.
Mike Boyd, driver of the legendary Winged Express. Made a wonderful run here last night, but it goes back a little bit farther than that, Mike. How long have you been involved with this car?
This car, we started running it 5 years ago. This is our 5th year. They rebuilt the car. It took them a couple years to do, and they gave me a call when it was time to put somebody behind the wheel, and I've been very fortunate to be able to go out and do it.
What sort of stuff did you drive before you got behind the wheel of this?
I have my own nostalgia front engine top fuel car that I built that we ran for 5 years on the Good Guy circuit, ANRA, and the local nostalgia circuits. We went out and did our own thing.
Now this is not just any fuel altered. I mean, this is the one, and it must be an absolute thrill for you every time you drive this thing.
It is an absolute honor to get in this car. Fuel alters are always been my favorite vehicle, and to be able to drive the one that I think is the ultimate out of all of them is definitely an honor.
Do you remember the first time you ever saw this thing?
I was a little kid at Lyons Drag Strip. My dad, Jim Boyd, drove a top fuel car back then. I grew up at Lyons, and here we are today. He's still doing it, so am I.
Now, tell us just a little bit what it must have been like the first time you drove this car.
The very first time we drove this car was at Terminal Island in near Long Beach, California. It was a small little drag strip. Went out there, and actually we just took it really easy. Pulled it up to the line. It was at night, so it had some nice flames, and went up there and just did a short little squirt and coasted down to make sure everything was okay, and it was really neat.
And now at this Boise race, you've been here 3 days now. First pass on Friday night, kind of did what fuel altereds do, and last night you came out, and from what Mosi was saying last evening, best run ever on this thing.
It was one of our better runs. Most of the runs we do are usually a little squirrely. It takes about a half a mile to go a quarter mile on this thing. But when we get a good run in like we did last night, we got to play around with the clutch a little bit, made a nice firing run, and it was a lot of fun.
So where do you guys go from here?
From here, we're going to go to Oklahoma next week and run in Oklahoma City, and from there we'll go home, go back to a normal 9-to-5 job.
And this Boise race, they're getting more and more of the fuel altered car here every year. How does it compare with those other kind of fuel altered races you see around the country?
This by far is the most exciting race for us. We love coming up here. We're honored to come up here, and Mousy and I were just talking about it. It is absolutely the best. They've got a great variety between the fuel alters and the front engine dragsters and the funny cars. I mean, it'd be wise if some of these other promoters would catch on to what's going on here. This is definitely by far the best we go to.
Well, thank you very much for taking a moment with us, Mike, and good luck today.
Thank you.
95, Jordy Bowman from right here in Boise.
Across the center line. Place a couple of them. And hit each other. They were like right up.
if you've never been to the Nightfire Nationals at Boise, you simply have to go. It is one of the greatest races in the world today. So thanks again for watching. Share the heck out of this video. Tell all your friends. Come on back soon to the place where the fast rides go. Horsepower Heaven 2 on YouTube.